When I first started using dating apps like Tinder as a teenager, I'd rarely get matches. But when I did, I'd fumble. Because in my mind, I was thinking there's a whole city of dudes out there competing against me. I have to do everything that I can to get this girl's attention, or else I'm just a loser. So I looked this up on Google and I found that around 70% of the users on these dating apps are men. So obviously it gets very competitive for us guys. But that's not even the biggest issue. The biggest problem is most guys would just take that and go, well, that's a wrap for me. I'm just an average dude. I'm not gonna get any girls.
Most people see the obstacles in life and they give up instantly because it's much easier to stay in the comfort zone. It's much easier to complain and blame everything else than it is to actually do something about it. It's much easier to just say that you're content with what you have, but nobody has ever gotten anything from being content.
That was the way I thought for the longest time. It got to my head. I was imagining a competition that frankly didn't exist because it shouldn't matter if there are other guys talking to the same girl. If it's meant to happen, you're gonna be the one taking her out and having a great time. If it's meant to happen, she'll pick you over the other guys. Thinking that there are limited opportunities for you because the odds are not in your favor is not gonna do you any good. You'll be acting out of fear, and as we all know, acting out of fear is a downward spiral. You're playing to not lose, as opposed to playing to win. And if you played any sports, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you're in this mindset, you're not being yourself. You're pretending to be someone that you think that girl might like. And let me tell you, that usually does not end well.
If you haven't already guessed it, this is the scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset is the belief that resources are limited. This tends to lead to short-term fixes instead of long-term solutions. People stuck in this mindset feel the need to rush and cut corners as they're worried that someone else might take their spot. In this mindset, everyone is competing. So the only way to truly win is to beat someone else. Imagine someone with the scarcity mindset working a corporate 9 to 5 job. This is what their thoughts would look like. Limited promotions available, limited opportunities, limited awards, as well as limited salary increments. Therefore, in this person's eyes, for him to get what he wants, he must beat someone else. He's competing with all of his colleagues and everyone around him. So for him to succeed, someone else must fail. Someone else must have less of what they want. The scarcity mindset is also common in the sporting world. Football being a team sport means that there's always gonna be competition for who gets to start and who sits on the bench. For me, whenever I didn't get to start, I used to hope that the player playing instead of me wouldn't do well. In my head, I would hope that he'd make simple mistakes, such as misplaced passes, bad first touch. Sometimes I would even hope that he'd get injured. I would even hope for my own team to lose, so that the players would look bad and so that I could get more playing time. However, that is the wrong way to think. Those were all forms of the scarcity mindset. Since we're all working towards the same goal, which is to win the league, my mindset should have been focused on supporting my teammates and assisting them in any way possible. On the other end of the spectrum, the mindset that takes you out of the competition and allows you to see all the possibilities in life is the abundance mindset. The abundance mindset is the belief that there are enough resources for everyone in the world. People with the abundance mindset look at the big picture. They make careful and deliberate decisions based on the life that they want to achieve.
Every time one of my relationships ended, I would think to myself, how could I possibly find someone better? She's the queen to my kingdom. She's supposed to be the one. Marco to my polo, etc. Basically a lot of whining because I was stuck in that scarcity mindset and I didn't know how to pull myself out of it. Consequently, that trickled down to whenever I started back on those dating apps. For the first few weeks, I would reek of desperation and thinking that there won't be any good women out there. But time and time again, I've been proving myself wrong. So there's nothing to worry about. Let me break it down for you. Bear in mind that rejection is totally normal. At this stage, you only need to worry about getting on that first date, so quantity over quality at this point. And here's why. Once I got on that first date, that got my engines running. I told myself before the first date that there's only one goal I need to achieve, and that's just to enjoy myself. Because what's the worst that could happen? I've got nothing to lose but to enjoy myself. And the result was I had a fantastic time. I was focused on the date and her, instead of going, what if she doesn't like me? Or what if she thinks I'm not good enough? Because guess what? They will feel that insecurity, and that's when things go south. Once I've gotten that initial positive experience, it's like the floodgates are open. I went out and got on some more dates, and that's when I started to realize that there are countless of women out there, so rejection doesn't really matter anymore. It's a snowball effect. The more dates that I went on, the more confident I got. But remember, we have to be patient. It's not an overnight thing. It's definitely a process. There's no pill you can swallow where you can go from scarcity to abundance mindset instantly, just like that. Just imagine you're going to a beach party and you want to look shredded. Do you think that pumping iron the first time before the party is going to do you any good? Probably not.
When I first started to look for a team, I put all of my hopes in my hometown club. I went pretty far in the trial, but eventually I got cut from the team. I felt like it was the end of the world, because I had put all of my hopes and expectations into one team. To me, no other team existed, and that was the only team that I wanted to play for, which is a form of the scarcity mindset. I even thought to myself, am I even good enough to play football professionally? Should I just quit? But I decided to look online to see if there were any other teams looking for players or offering trials. I ended up finding 4 more and eventually signed with one of the teams. I realized that sulking and being upset wasn't going to get me anything, and that there were still plenty of opportunities remaining. By setting up 4 more trials, I was able to go into each trial with more determination and more confidence, knowing that there were a lot more opportunities waiting for me. So how do you actually go from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset? Well, we've summed up 3 steps that we've personally gone through that have helped us go from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. The first step is to focus on what you have and yourself. Stop complaining about how the competition is too high and that you're not good enough, or that there's not enough resources for everyone, because these are all forms of the scarcity mindset. Instead, change your thoughts to focus on what you can offer. Focus on all the skills that you already have while trying to develop new skills that you would like to acquire. This will allow you to be aware of what you can offer and what you can bring to the table.
That's exactly how I changed my mindset to find success in dating. Previously, even if I was placed on a perfect date with an ideal woman, I would still fumble if I don't change the way I think. My self-esteem was an all-time low back then. I was just a mess. I couldn't make eye contact with anybody, let alone attractive women. But what I found worked for me was I started working out, took care of my skin, and started dressing well. And I think that applies to just about every guy here. Be your best authentic self. You gotta have that mindset, and you gotta believe in yourself deep down. Here's an example to illustrate. Brushing your teeth. Do you have to worry about how to brush your teeth? No, because it's second nature to you and you know how to do it, as opposed to thinking you can do it. That's pretty much how it works in life. It's obviously easier said than done when you try to apply it to other things. It's not like you can just go and repeat, I'm gonna get her to like me over and over like a mantra, but in the back of your head still be panicking. People or outside things can't help you. Only you can do that by changing your inner self and also focusing on what you have and the changes that you want to see.
It's the same with sports. I was also a mess whenever I stepped onto the pitch during a match or high pressure situation. But for some reason, during low pressure or training, I excelled. The difference was what I was focusing on. In the first situation, I didn't want to make any mistakes. I didn't want to get yelled at by my teammates or by my coaches. This meant that I was focused on all the wrong things and I was playing to not make a mistake. I was basically playing to not lose. However, in the second situation, I was just having fun, playing the sport I loved. I wasn't thinking about making mistakes. I was just enjoying myself and focused on winning. So the actionable step for step 1 is for you to make a list of all the unique things that you have to offer. Analyze and assess all the unique skills and attributes that you have as a person. No two people are the same. By understanding what you can offer, it'll allow you to be more confident in yourself. Step 2 is to surround yourself with people that have an abundance mindset. You are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. That's why it's important to be aware of who you spend most of your time around and what they are feeding you. If your closest friends are all alcoholics and they love drinking, there's a high chance that you'll end up doing the same. But if all of your friends are career-driven, ambitious, then there's a high chance that you'll be too. That's why it's important to surround yourself with people that have an abundance mindset in order to promote an abundance mindset in yourself.
Before, all I wanted to do was stay home and play video games. I used to hate working out, playing sports for fun, or exploring nature. But over the past year, I started to hang around people who were more active and exercised. And guess what happened? I became more outdoorsy. So subconsciously, I wanted to hang around people who were exercising and were active. Have you noticed that dating apps are a reflection of this world? There are tall people, short people, ugly people, attractive people out there. And you manifest who you meet subconsciously, whether in real life or in these apps.
So the actionable step for step 2 is to take a look at who you spend most of your time with. Look at their daily lives, their hobbies, their interests. Would you be content with having the same life as them? Do you feel like they're helping you to grow, or are they holding you back? Are their goals in life in line with your goals? Step 3 is to change your perspective on the world and reframe your mind by chasing rejection. The abundance mindset provides you with a perspective on life that allows you to see more of the world, more options, more choices, more possibilities, as well as more resources. Understand that rejection is completely normal. Learn to embrace rejection and failure. These situations provide a lot of valuable learning opportunities. Imagine succeeding with every attempt. That would not only be impossible, but it'd also be rather boring, because you'll end up reaching a point where nothing excites you anymore. The rejections, failures, and low points in life make the successes and victories so much more meaningful. Only by accepting rejection and failure will you be able to understand the difference between the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset.
So actionable step, chase rejection. It sounds very scary, right? Getting rejected by the girl that you like, or the job that you want, or embarrassing yourself in front of other people when you try something new. I remember when I sang karaoke for the very first time in front of girls, I was terrible and I was nervous, but I was also trying to act cool at the same time, which is not a good combo. But the thing is, nobody cared. Everybody was so focused on drinking, playing cards, playing dice, whatever. They didn't really even notice me, and that was perfect. And also, any decent human being wouldn't laugh at you if they don't know who you are. And even then, so what? How long are they gonna laugh at you for? 5 minutes at most? Okay, so what? So you gotta do it for yourself and take that first step that you're too afraid to take. It also helps build a stronger character. Imagine you have a scale within you. If you've never faced rejection before, then obviously you're gonna be afraid of it, and your capacity for rejection will be at a 1. And if you ever get rejected, it's gonna be feeling like your whole world is falling apart, because that's 100% more rejection that you've ever felt. The more rejections you face, that scale goes up, and you start to get used to it. Say for example now you've faced 8 rejections. Compared to when you've never felt rejected before, 1 rejection wouldn't sound so bad, because you're at a higher capacity now.
Another way to phrase it is 1 step closer to your goal. Imagine if whatever you wanted to achieve was 10 rejections away. How would that make you feel? Would you still be caught up by every rejection? Would that failed exam, trial, or interview affect you? Would you still be upset that that cute girl didn't give you her number? You probably wouldn't, because you know that in 9 more attempts, you're going to achieve whatever your dream job, girl, or anything you wanted.
Remember, everybody goes through the same process. The guys you've seen who've got women surrounding them did not get there on day one. Ask them how many times they've gotten rejected, and I guarantee you that they would say something along the lines of, I lost count, but it doesn't matter anymore. Have you noticed that the best things happen to you when you're in the moment and you're just enjoying the moment? Your mind isn't wandering off from one thought to the next nonstop, because that's when you're being your authentic self and you're mindful of the present, knowing that it's just not that big of a deal if you don't get it. If you have to force it, it's probably bad. It's important to care about the things that matter to you. And what might matter to you right now is, I want to get a girlfriend, I want to have sex. And that's all perfectly normal. But you gotta want it and let it happen. You gotta be present and live your usual schedule, because there's no point in obsessing about the future when it hasn't happened yet. I just want to highlight the difference between knowing you can do it and thinking you can do it. They're two entirely different things. As we mentioned earlier, take that leap of faith. Be the change that you want to see in your life. Start from something small and doable, and reward yourself every time you achieve it. If you have a friend that you trust dearly, share your success with them, because that will pump you up and make you want more, and that will take you from thinking to knowing. So give it a go and try it out with us. We apply the things that we talk about in our videos into our daily lives. And if you have anything that you want to share with us, please don't forget to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.